welcome to another lookbook video. So I'm about to get into the look, but I just wanted to say I wasn't sure for the look if it was my last look of the last video, the first look of the next video, but it is the first look of the next video. So yeah, let's get into it. Sorry about that. Okay, so hey there guys, I want to tell you guys about my makeup look for today. I'm not really sure if this is the first or the last look of the previous video. I'm thinking it might be the second to last look of the video. Because I think usually I start new videos on Sundays for these makeup looks. So I did work today. So I primed my eyes with the Anastasia eye primer, and then I used my Micole lip oil, and then I set my eyes with the Urban Decay Stay Naked powder. And then for my palette today, I went into the Colourpop Back to Hogwarts Harry Potter palette. So with this guy, I really wanted to do the smoky blue look that I really love from this palette. I think I've done this look like a couple of times, but it's just such a beautiful look. And this is exactly how it looked when I first put it on. So that's why I'm telling you guys, like, that's why this formula in this palette is so amazing. Like, I don't know what they did in this palette, but that's why it was my favorite palette last year. But yeah, I just wanted to go into the blues today because I was wearing this blue flannel shirt. So I used Enchanted Keys in the crease. I basically just went down this row, and then I darkened it up with Ravenclaw, which is my favorite matte in the palette because it's such a vibrant, dark blue shade. It's so pretty. And then I used the black Dementor on the outer corners to make it even more smoky. And then for the lower lash line, I just used Sorting Hat because I wanted a little bit more of the gray underneath. And then for the inner corners, I just used the shade Lumas, which is such a stunning, like, whitish gold shade. It's so beautiful, and that's everything I use. So not really too many shades, and it's just such a stunning look. I absolutely love this palette. It's really sad how controversial the palette was because honestly, J.K. Rowling is a piece of shit, but I really wanted to try the palette. I grew up with Harry Potter, and the palette quality really is fantastic. So it's a shame. I don't know why she's so nuts about trans people. Like, it makes no sense to me. Like, so many people, like, look up to your, oh my god, I cannot. I'm just putting it down. I can't. I don't really get it. So, and then for my liner, I just went into my Makeup by Mario liner in the shade Black. And then for my mascara, I just went into the Essence Lash Primer. And then I just used my NARS Climax mascara. And then I just used the Lash Discovery by Maybelline on the bottom lashes. And then for my face, I primed my face with the, of course, Do It spray, and then just the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. I've been using that almost every day. And then for my foundation, I just went into the Glossier foundation again. So this is the Glossier, what is this called again? Stretch Fluid Foundation in the shade Very Light 1. I don't know why they make the print so small, but it's also right on the packaging, so I could have just read that, but it's been a long day. And then for my concealer, I went into my LYS Triple Fix Full Coverage Brightening Concealer. I haven't used this concealer in a little while, and it's still a really, really nice concealer. It might not have as much coverage as the Haus Labs or the Makeup by Mario, but it's still a really good concealer, so I just wanted to use that today. And then I set my under eyes with the Pat McGrath Labs powder, and then I set my face with the Urban Decay Stay Naked powder again. And then for my bronzer, I went into a bronzer that I haven't used in a little while. So I used the Marc Jacobs Omega bronzer in the shade Tantric. Just a really nice caramelly shade. And then for my blush, I just wanted to use a nude blush today. So I went into the Patrick Ta Monochrome Moment Velvet Blush in the shade She's Sincere. I almost said She's Sincere. It's just a really nice nude blush. And then for my highlight, I wanted to go into the coinciding Harry Potter highlighter. So I went into the Harry Potter highlighter in the shade Buckbeak, which is just a really, really pretty, like, taupey kind of color. And it just looks really pretty with this. I haven't went into the Harry Potter palette and highlighters since I went to Universal Studios, because I did bring these with me because I specifically, of course, wanted to wear the Harry Potter palette at Universal. I almost said Disney because I had to wear it for Harry Potter World. So I haven't used it since then. So it's been like almost 4 months because I went to California like the first week of June. But I knew when I got the Harry Potter palette, I would get a ton of use out of it. So, and then I used the e.l.f. Wow Brow on my brows. And then for my lips, I went into the Colourpop Lippy Pencil in the shade Ashton. And then for my liquid lipstick, I went into an oldie but a goodie. This is the Colored Rain liquid lipstick in the shade Marshmallow. And it's just such a pretty, like, cool tone, almost purpley gray brown. It just looks so pretty with this look. I was thinking about using the Hermione shade, but I kind of wanted something a little bit more cool tone since the eyes were pretty cool tone. And yeah, I've just been having a blast trying to use as many fall palettes as possible this week, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job rotating palettes. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow for another look, or this might be the last look of the video. Bye! Okay, so hey there guys, I wanted to tell you guys about my makeup look for today. I did work earlier today. I don't think I'm working again until this coming Saturday, but today was very busy. Today's Saturday as well. Then I have a couple things coming up the next few days, but I wanted to work today and yesterday, so I primed my eyes with I actually wasn't even on the schedule for today, but then they added me, and then I ended up having to close anyway because somebody else called out. So there was only 3 people working today, and it was like pretty busy that we could have used a 4th person. But originally I was supposed to be on 1 to 7, but then they asked me if I could be on 1 to 8 because the other person couldn't come in. So yeah, so I primed my eyes with the Anastasia eye primer, and then I used the Amicole lip oil, and then I set my eyes with the Urban Decay Stay Naked powder. And then for my eyes, I used the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette today. And I have a bit of thoughts about this palette. I don't know if I absolutely love this palette anymore. But I do try to whip it out once every fall, and like I said, I've been trying to rotate a lot of my palettes lately, a lot of my fall palettes before my newer palettes come that I'm waiting for, which is like the Odin's Eye Trick or Treat palette by Angelica Nyquist and the Colourpop 1111 palette. I'm really excited for those to come, but I am trying to rotate a lot of palettes in my collection right now. And just the way that the mattes blended today weren't exactly that great. But initially it turned out okay, like as long as I didn't put too many mattes on. But after using this today, and as I've been using like different indie brands and trying new indie brands, this formula is kind of basic at this point. I did whip it out once last year and I still loved it, but now I feel like also it's getting on the older side. I might have had this palette almost 4 years at this point. I don't know. Did it come out in 2019 or 2020? I know it's at least 3 years old. So anyway, I used Swarm in the crease, but then I tried to darken up the crease more with Keeper and Hive. And it was showing up fine, but then I darkened it up with Sting. But then I probably should just use a clean brush now, because sometimes I can get away with using the same brush on the outer corners as when I go back in to reblend the defining area. But when I tried to do that after I put on the outer corner shade, it was kind of just making it not look good. And it wasn't really blending that well. It was kind of blending the Sting shade like into the crease, and it wasn't really looking good. It was looking kind of dirty. And the Clarity Cosmetics mattes can do that to me too if I don't use a separate brush. With Colourpop, usually 99% of the time that doesn't happen. But I think I need to start like cleaning off my brush now, or using another brush. But at the same time, like I even tried to go in with another brush to try and blend that instead of using the same brush that I was using, and I was having the same issue. So I was like, okay, let me just like not over blend, So I just took Swarm again and buffed that in the crease and didn't really take another defining shade, and then just redefine the outer corner shade, and that seemed to work better. But then I couldn't use a defining shade, which isn't really a huge deal. So, and then for the lid, I went into HBIC. And honestly, it's pretty, but I'm not like over the moon about this palette anymore. Again, I feel like there's so many better indie brand quality palettes, and Natasha Denona is way better quality than Urban Decay's basic formula at this point. But it's still a nice palette. I still try to use it when I can. And then I used Flyby on the brow bone. And then for the inner corners, I just used the shade Golden. And that's everything that I used in the palette today. Pretty simple, easy, golden-y tone look. And then for my waterline, I just used my Makeup by Mario liner in the shade Brown. And then for my mascara, I just used my Ami Collet mascara because I was kind of running out of time at that point. So I just grabbed whatever mascara that was on top, and then I used my Lash Discovery on the bottom lashes. And then for my face, I primed with my Do It spray and then the e.l.f. Power Grip primer. And then for my foundation, I went into the House Labs Triclone Skin Tech foundation in the shade 050 Fair Cool. And then for my concealer, I used the House Labs concealer in the shade 01 Fair Neutral. So I love this concealer, so I wanted to use that. And then I just set my under eyes with the Pat McGrath Labs powder, and then I set my face with the Urban Decay powder again. And then for my bronzer, I just went into the same bronzer that I used yesterday because I really wanted to use it again. I was like, you know what? I forgot how much I miss using this bronzer, so I just used the Marc Jacobs Omega bronzer again in the shade Tantric. I'm glad I got another use out of it. And then for my blush, I wanted to go into one of my Clarity Cosmetic blushes again. And this one's the shade Boo Thing, so I just used that. And it's a really pretty blush. You just have to go in really lightly with these, but they do last a long time on the skin, so they're just very pigmented. And then for my highlighter, I originally tried to go into the Glam Light Cookies and Milk highlighter, but it's a little bit dark for me. So I just topped it off with the Anastasia Beverly Hills highlighter in the shade So Hollywood. Jesus, I cannot talk. I'm so tired. I am so tired. I cannot wait to go watch TV right now. Just feeling a little burnt out. I used the shade So Hollywood because I really wanted to use a loose highlighter today, and I think it turned out really nice and goldeny bronzy, so I really like it. And then I set my face with my Milk Makeup Spray, and then I set my brows with my e.l.f. Wow Brow. And then for my lips, I just used, I actually used the Half Magic Beauty lip liner. I think I used the lighter shade. Yeah, this one is called Ballerino, so I just lined with that shade. And then for my lips, I used my Patrick Ta lip cream again. I really love this formula, so I like using it when I can. So this is the Patrick Ta what is it called again? Lip cream in the shade She's Secure. It's just the lip cream. So yeah, that is it. I'm gonna go because I'm tired, but I really like this goldenly toned eyeshadow. And then I wore my new sweater that I bought from Lucky today finally, because it was finally cool enough to wear it. But then of course 2 days from now it's going to be 80 degrees, so as soon as we start whipping out the sweaters, it starts getting really hot again, like the first couple weeks of October. It's bipolar weather. Okay, bye. Okay, so hey there guys, want to tell you guys about my makeup look for today. I'm actually about to head out to go Halloween shopping with my friend, and then we're gonna go get food. So I'm very excited because I need to do some Halloween shopping. It is October 1st, so what better time to do it than now? I need to get a couple things actually. I might have to get a dress for something that I'm doing on Halloween. I also have to get my actual Halloween costume for the weekend of Halloween. So there's quite a few things that I actually need to get. Hold on one second. That eyeshadow there was really bothering me, so now it looks better. Great. Progress. So I primed my eyes with the Anastasia eye primer. That's always the one that I use if I want my eyeshadow to last the longest. And then for my lips, I just use my Amicole lip oil as always, and then I set them with my Urban Decay pressed powder. And then for my eyeshadow, I went into my Colourpop Gather Round Sisters Hocus Pocus palette because it is October 1st. So what better way to start off the month with a Halloween palette? So I try to whip out this palette at least once every October. That's pretty much the only time I end up using it, but also I think I used it a little bit earlier in the year and I mixed together the Hocus Pocus and the Hocus Pocus 2 palette, so maybe I'll do that again this month. But I just wanted to use it by itself today, so and I've done this look quite a few times, and I usually do this look every single time I wear this flannel. So I'm wearing this flannel with like green and red flowers on the side. So that's basically what inspires the colors for me to use. So I used Hello Salem in the crease. Then I darkened up the crease more with Night of Frolic, and then I used I call it a bust on the outer corners. And then for my lid, I went in with the shade Tis Firm. It's such a beautiful red shimmer. And then for the brow bone, I used Full Moon. And then for the lower lash line, I used Bewitched just to put in a little bit of green in there. And then for my inner corners, I used the shade Wench. So I just used this palette. I like that it does have a lighten up brow bone highlight for me. And the shade Hello Salem, I have such a big dip in it. I'm really trying to hit pan on that shade. I might actually end up doing that at some point, but I usually end up using that shade every single time I use this palette. So I really love this palette. I've used it for years. It was my first Halloween palette in my collection, and I continue to try to use it every October. So I'm glad that I started off spooky season, because now it's officially spooky season once October 1st starts, not friggin' summertime or before fall. No, it's spooky season for me now, as soon as October 1st starts. And then for my waterline, I just used the Makeup by Mario shade in the shade Black. And then I used my Rare Beauty mascara on my top lashes. And then I used the Lash Discovery on the bottom lashes. Sorry if you hear barking. My brother's friend is here. Luna barks at everybody. So, and they're outside, which is even worse. She'll just bark until they come back inside. And then I used my Do It spray. And then I used the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. And then for my foundation, I used the Urban Decay Stay Naked Weightless Liquid Foundation. I haven't used this one in a hot second. And I always forget how beautiful it is. Like, I'm trying to really shop my stash and use a lot of my products. So, really do love this foundation. Oh, they're actually going somewhere. So now I can just pull out as soon as I leave. And then for my concealer, I used the Urban Decay Stay Naked Concealer in the shade 10NN. I just really wanted to use the two together, and they look great. And then I set my under eyes with the Pat McGrath powder. And then I set my face again with the Urban Decay powder. And then for my bronzer, I used my Fenty Beauty bronzer. I pulled out some other bronzers to rotate as well. So I used the Fenty Beauty one in the shade Into Sun. It's a really good bronzer, and I love using it around the fall and winter time because it's more of a cooler tone. And then for my blush, I finally went back into my Bare Cheeks palette by Blend Bunny. And I wanted to use the red shade today. So this one is the shade Power Play. And it's just such a pigmented red. I barely had to use any of it. And it went on like full pigment. So it's crazy. And then for my highlight, I did want to use a Disney one today just to tie in the Hocus Pocus palette. I know I probably should just use the Hocus Pocus 2 one, but I want to use that when I use my Hocus Pocus 2 palette this month. So for my highlight, I used the shade Horse and Carriage from the Midnight Masquerade collection. It's just such a beautiful highlighter. And then I set my face with the Milk Makeup Spray, and then I set my brows with the e.l.f. Wow Brow. And then for my lips, I used my Colourpop BFF liner. And then for my liquid lipstick, I used the Colored Rain liquid lipstick in the shade Mars. I think this might be getting old and dry, but it feels okay, and I think it's going to last the whole day, but it's such a beautiful shade. And I wanted something vampy, but not too dark. And this is just such a pretty, like, easy brick red tone almost. So yeah, I gotta go. Bye. Okay, so hey there, guys. Wanted to tell you guys about my makeup look for today. I just got home from work, so I decided to do like this berry tone look. Oh my god, excuse me. I had chicken parm for dinner earlier. I just took leftovers tonight because I really didn't feel like paying for anything, and also I didn't get a half-hour break today, so I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna bring leftovers because I can't really leave the store when I only have like 15 minutes, or I just didn't want to get like I just didn't want to pay for food today, so I just brought leftovers. So I prime my eyes with the Anastasia eye primer, and then I use the Amicale lip oil, and then I set my eyes with the Dior powder, the Dior Backstage powder. And then for my eyes, I think I talked about that I wanted to use this eventually, so I just ended up using it today, and I still absolutely love this palette. So I used the Colourpop Or Kid You Not palette, and I went into a few shades in here. I just used this palette today, and I still absolutely love it. The pigmentation is just phenomenal, and this is how it's looked since, like, I think I did my makeup around 12:30 because I wanted to get out of the house an hour before work because I wanted to get my nails done before, and I got these wine nails, and I'm literally obsessed with the way that it turned out. This is for my wine trip on Friday. I really wanted to do a wine design, and I love how it turned out. It looks so pretty, and I got to work just on time. So originally I was gonna get up early and go and then come back and get ready, but I was like, that's just stupid because the nail salon is literally right next to the mall, and I just thought I wasn't gonna have enough time to get ready. But I got ready like an hour 2 hours before I had to be at work, so I could leave the house at 1:30 and I would still be on time. So I used this shade Rebloom in the crease, then I darkened up the crease more with Moth, and then I used a little bit of Ada on the outer corners and then darken it up more with the shade Nuh-Uh. So I use that on the outer corners. And then for my lid, I use the center shade, which is called OMG. It's just such a beautiful, like, berry tone, shimmery, purpley pink, and it's gorgeous. I love it. And then for the inner corners, I use the shade Pretty One, which is my favorite shade in the palette. It's like a lavender white, and it's so gorgeous. And then for the lower lash line, I went in with Seedling in between that just to add a little bit more sparkle. And then for the lower lash line, I just went in with Ada again and smudged it on the outer part, and I absolutely love how it turned out. So beautiful. Obsessed with this palette. It's one of Colourpop's best palettes ever, and one of my favorite Colourpop palettes of all time. It's just phenomenal. I cannot believe I wasn't going to get this palette. This is their best monochromatic palette they've ever done. And then for my liner, I went into the Colourpop Cream Gel Liner in the shade Charmer because I wanted a little bit more purple. And then I went in with the Essence Lash Primer. And then for my mascara, I used the Lancome Hypnose Drama mascara. Again, I don't know if I'm really obsessed with this mascara. It's okay. It's nothing to write home about. And then I used the Lash Discovery on the bottom lashes by Maybelline as per usual. And then for my face, I primed with the Do It Spray by Fourth Ray Beauty, and then the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. I always forget the name. I always get it confused with the one from Milk. And then for my I almost said concealer. For my foundation, I went in with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous Foundation, and I'm in the shade 110C, so I just used that guy. And then for my concealer, I wanted to use the Makeup by Mario concealer because I actually don't think I've used these two together, and I love the combination because this foundation is so similar to the Makeup by Mario. It's very dewy, but I think I still prefer this foundation. I love the Makeup by Mario one though. They're both beautiful on my skin, but this one is just like one of my favorite foundations of all time. So I just used the Makeup by Mario concealer in the shade 120. I really like this concealer. It's very nice coverage. And then I set my under eyes with the Pat McGrath powder, and then I set my face with the Dior powder again. And then for my bronzer, I went into an oldie but a goodie. This is the NYX Matte Bronzer in the shade Medium. I kind of pulled out a couple of bronzers to rotate right now, so this one's a really good bronzer, so I used that. And then for my blush, I went into my Kat Von D blush in the shade, well, KVD Beauty Everlasting Blush in the shade Rosebud. These blushes are amazing, and they really do last all day. KVD makes amazing blushes. And then for my highlight, I decided to go in with something a bit lighter, but I absolutely love how it looked with this. So I went into my Burberry highlighter. I haven't used this in so long, and it's such a pretty highlighter. So this is the Fresh Glow highlighter in the shade Rose Gold number 4. I'm sure they don't make this anymore, but it's so stunning on the skin, and it lasted all day. It's just so pretty. Reminds me of like the Dior formula. And then I set my face with the Milk Makeup Spray, and then I set my brows with the e.l.f. Wow Brow. And then for my lips, I went into the Colourpop Cream Gel Liner in the shade Brink. And then for my liquid lipstick, I used the Sigma liquid lipstick in the shade, I think this one's New Mod. I did not use this shade today. I think I just threw it in my bag accidentally. I'm pretty sure I used the shade New Mod, but it's in my purse as well. No, it's right here. It's literally right in front of me. Oh my god. So yeah, I used the shade New Mod. It's just such a good like cool tone pink mauve-y shade literally, and I love that this little mini set came with my New Mod palette when I ordered it, so I could try Sigma's liquid lipsticks, and honestly this is all I could ever need of a liquid lipstick. And then I wore like my floral like Lucky shirt, and I wore them with like these black like flare pants. Really, really cute. I really liked my outfit today. But yeah, if you guys want to see outfits as well, I can do that. I probably will be doing that on a daily basis now. So yeah, that's it. I'm tired. I need to go crash. So bye. Okay, so hi. So I wanted to tell you guys about my makeup look for today. I think I'm mostly going to be using Colourpop palettes for the next few days. I used another one today. I have a new one that came in the mail today that I'm going to use tomorrow. So yeah, it's just going to be a lot of Colourpop, and then hopefully Odin's Eye on Saturday. Depends on when the Trick or Treat palette comes. So I primed my eyes with the Colourpop Party Proof Primer. I tried to use a lot of Colourpop products today too. So just made it a Colourpop day because why not? And then I used the Amicable lip oil, and then I set my eyes with the Colourpop Pretty Fresh powder. And then for my eyeshadow palette, I used the Colourpop Rock On palette again because I really just wanted to go back into it before I start using the new one tomorrow. And this is my newest Colourpop palette besides that one, so I wanted to use it at least one more time. So I just went into like the more orangey, like pumpkin spice shades today. And this palette is just such an easy palette to use. It's such a good like everyday palette. And just the mattes blend so easily. So I used the shade Rock My World in the crease. Then I darkened up the crease more with Fave Hike. And then I used Trail Mix on the outer corners. And then for the lid, I just went in with the center shade again, which is called Sedona. Such a beautiful like burnt orange coppery shade. And then I went in with Rock My World on the lower lash line. And then I used the shade Chasing Sunsets on the inner corners. So that's everything I used from the palette today, and it turned out beautiful. I really, really like this palette a lot. I'm going to be using quite a bit of Colourpop palettes this week. And then I used a little bit more Colourpop on my waterline and my mascara. So I used the Essence Lash Primer, and then I used the Colourpop Cream Gel Liner in the shade Peach Fuzz on the lower lash line, and I really like how it looks on the waterline, and then I used the Colourpop Level Up Brown Mascara on the top and bottom lashes. And then for my face, I just primed with my Do It Spray from Fourth Ray Beauty, and then my Say Star Glow Super Gel Primer. And then for my tinted moisturizer, I wanted to go into my Colourpop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer. And this is just such a good tinted moisturizer, so just wanted to use that in the shade Fair 1N. And then for my concealer, it's probably a little bit more coverage than I wanted, but I wanted to use this concealer with the tinted moisturizer. So I went into my Colourpop No Filter Concealer in the shade Fair 02. I wish that Colourpop would come out with a new concealer or like a new complexion product at this point. Like, they really haven't launched anything in quite a long time. Like, I think this is still the last complexion product they launched, was the Pretty Fresh tinted moisturizer along with the Pretty Fresh concealer, but they haven't released a concealer in so long. I really would like them to release like a hydrating concealer. I've said this for so long, but it would be nice. And then I set my under eyes with the Becca powder, and then I set my face with the Colourpop Pretty Fresh powder, the Becca Hydra Mist powder. I'm trying to use it up. I think I'm almost done with it, so that's great. And then for my bronzer, I'm so tired today. I used the Colourpop matte bronzer in the shade Alviva Beach, just because it's my favorite, and also why not use more Colourpop, and I'm trying to hit pan on this one. And then for my blush, I also used the Colourpop blush. This is the Colourpop pressed powder blush in the shade Chase. I don't know how you say that. Hey Siri, how do you pronounce Chase? No, that's not it. Let's find out. Chase pronunciation. Shays. Like Shays Lounge. Duh. Wow, brain fart, Caitlin. So this is the shade Shays. Shade Shays. Say that 5 million times. Shade Shays. Shade Shays. So yeah, I used that one, and it's just such a pretty like warm tone orangey peach. And then for my highlight, I went in with the Valentine's Day highlighter. This is the pressed powder highlighter in the shade You're Glowing. And I definitely prefer this packaging over the blush because this one is so much easier to open. They really actually did make this one way easier to open. The other one, see, that opens like really easily. The other one does not open like the blush. Oh my god, that one was like impossible to open. So they like learned their lesson and fixed the packaging for those, but I didn't even bother picking up a blush. I really just wanted the highlighter. And this one's such a beautiful one. It's such a pretty like white gold. So I used that, and then I set my face with the Do It spray, and then I set my brows with the Colourpop Brow Boss Gel, and then for my lips, I went into another Colourpop lippy. I just used my Velvet Blur lipstick in the shade CA Love. Again, I think that this is Colourpop's most underrated formula. I really do love it. I think I own like 3 of them at this point. I have the shades CA Love, Virgo Moon, and Bloom to Bloom, and I love them so much. They're just such a good formula. So yeah, that's it. Bye. I'm just going to my boyfriend's house, and then same tomorrow. I'm just going to his house. Bye. Okay, so hey there guys. I wanted to tell you guys about my makeup look for today. So I am using a new eyeshadow palette on my eyes. So I primed my eyes with the Colourpop Party Proof Primer. Is that a cricket or a grasshopper? He just like landed on my window. There's a window like right here, and there's a window right here, but I only open the blinds here, and literally it's like right on my window. That's funny. And then I use the Micole lip oil, and then I set my eyes with the Colourpop Pretty Fresh powder as always. And then for my eyeshadow palette, I went into basically the newest palette Colourpop has released. It was the Colourpop 1111 palette. This came in the mail yesterday, so I really wanted to use it today. So I filmed a whole first impressions, like I literally just finished filming. So I used the shade Good Thoughts in the crease. Then I darkened up the crease more with Protection, and then I used the shade Right Path on my outer corners. And then for the lid, I had to go in with the gold, so I went in with the shade Manifest It, and it's such a pretty shimmery gold. And then I went in with a shade from the So Jaded palette on my brow bone, and I used the shade My Precious, which is such a good one. I'm going to start keeping that one in front of me and start using that whenever I use like a Colourpop palette or something. I'll use that one on the brow bone because I want to like use that shade up. And then for the lower lash line, I went into the shade Protection to smudge on the lower lash line. And then for the inner corners, I went in with Total Angel, which is that white shade, like that white shimmer. It's such a pretty inner corner highlight. And then for the lower lash line to connect the two, right here, I just went in with the same shade that I used on the top, which is Manifest It, because I wanted a little bit more of a pop of gold. I usually will use a different shade, but I just thought the gold looked so pretty on the lower lash line as well, and I absolutely love how this look turned out. I think it looks so pretty. And then for my waterline, I used my LA Girl liner in the shade White. And then for my mascara, where did it go? I used my Tower 28 Jet Mascara because I wanted to use that. And then I just used my Lash Discovery on the bottom lashes. I didn't use the Essence Lash Primer today because I need to go get a new one because that one's just getting hella old. And then I primed my face with the Do It Spray. And then I used my Say Star Glow Super Gel Primer because I really do want to use it up. So I just used that. And then for my face, I went in with the Tower 28 SPF 30 Sunny Days Broad Spectrum SPF 30 Tinted Sunscreen in the shade 05 Fairfax. I'm trying to use it up, so I'm almost done with it. I might just keep it in front of me so I can just use it and use it up, because I wanted to go into my Tower 28 concealer today, so I just figured to use both of them together. So I just used the Tower 28 concealer again in the shade, it's the lightest shade, 0.5. It's the Serum Concealer. But I haven't used it in a little while, and I like using it at least once a week, so I just went in with that guy. And then for my, I just set my under eyes with my Becca Hydra Mist Powder, which I'm also trying to use up. I'm almost done with this too. And then I set my face with my Pretty Fresh powder. I wanted to show you the progress on this one too. I've used it a lot. I just love this powder so much. I use it like every day. And then it's just the perfect setting powder for me. I love it. And then for my bronzer, I just went into my Ilia bronzer. I was like, might as well use this again. So this is the Nightlight bronzing powder in the shade Drawn In. And then for blush, I went in with the blush that I ordered with the palette. So this is one of the blushes from the 1111 collection. So I just ordered that besides the blush. So this, palette. So this is the shade Claim It. It's just a really pretty, like, peachy tone blush. Did I need it? No, but is it really pretty? Yes. And then for my highlighter, I just went into Colourpop Super Shock highlighter in the shade Flexitarian. This has been a fan favorite for a long time, and I just thought it would be a really pretty one for this look. It's like a pretty white gold, so I thought I would use that. And then I set my face with the Do It Spray, and then I set my brows with the Colourpop Brow Blush Gel. And then for my lips, I went into the Colourpop Luxe Lipstick in the shade What's Your Sign. Unfortunately, you can't get this anymore because it's an older nude shade from Colourpop. This was the Kathleen Lights shade. I probably will use this up at some point. But it's literally my favorite nude of all time. This is literally like the only lipstick that I regret not getting a backup of, because I absolutely love it, and it would have been nice to have another one at least, but it's okay. I use lip products like once every 2 years. The only lip products I really do use up are lip oils, because I use those to nourish my lips before I go in with my makeup. So yeah, that's it. I gotta pee. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Okay, so hey there guys, I want to tell you guys about my makeup look for today. I wanted to just get out of the house earlier, even though like I wasn't doing much before I went out, but I did go live with Allie earlier today. So if you want to check that out, it's on her channel. Her name's Allie Brienne, and I've been friends with her on YouTube for quite a few years now. We actually, I actually found her through one of her Disney Halloween looks, and then she asked me to do one of them with her like a couple of years back, and we've been friends ever since then, and it was really nice to just do a live with her today. That was fun. So I primed my eyes with the Colourpop Party Proof Primer, and then I used the Amicole lip oil, and then I set my eyes with the Colourpop Pretty Fresh powder. And then for my eyes, I went back in with the 1111 palette by Colourpop, because I did say I was going to use this palette again today. And now I only have 3 shimmer shades to use. So I use the shade Protection in the crease. Then I darken up the crease more with Right Path. And then I use the shade Empowered on the outer corners today. And then for the lid, I went in with Balanced. And it was just such a pretty look. Again, you just get really nice, simple, really pretty looks out of this palette. And then I just popped on Manifest It on the inner corners because I just wanted that pop of gold. So yeah, I really have been enjoying this palette. I really want to do like probably like a more cool tone look next time with this shade. So but that won't be for another like few days because I'm going to use a couple of other palettes this weekend. But hopefully I'll be able to finish testing this out. But it's a really good palette so far. I really have been enjoying it. So I'm glad I got to use it back to back. And then I used Brighter Date. I actually used my Precious from Colourpop's So Jaded palette on my brow bone again today. And then I just used my Makeup by Mario brown liner because for some reason I couldn't find my other liner, my LA Girl liner. So I just went in with the Makeup by Mario one. So this one right here. And then for my mascara, I went in with my new Essence Lash Booster first because I did pick up another one yesterday. And I just went in with the Ilia Limitless Lash Mascara. So then it's just like an easy everyday mascara. And then I just used my Maybelline Lash Discovery on the bottom lashes. And then for my face, I just primed with the Do It Spray and then the Say Star Glow Super Gel Primer because I'm trying to use that guy up. But I've just been using it almost every time I do like just everyday makeup, and I love this primer. And then for my tinted moisturizer, I went in with the Rare Beauty Positive Light Tinted Moisturizer Broad Spectrum SPF 20 Sunscreen in the shade 10N, which is the lightest shade. And then for my concealer, I just went in with my Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Dark Circle Eraser in the shade 9.5. Then I set my under eyes with the Becca Hydra Mist powder, and then I set my face with the Colourpop Pretty Fresh powder. And then for my bronzer, I went into the Colourpop Matte Bronzer again in the shade Alviva Beach, just to get a little bit more use out of it, but also it's like pretty much my go-to. I think I used this today and yesterday, or I think I used the Ilia bronzer yesterday, so I used that one today. And then for my blush and highlight, I went into my 2 Say products. I went into the Say Glow Sculpt Peach Glow blush. This is just such a nice, pretty, peachy blush. And it was an interesting combo to do since, like, even though the eyes were pretty neutral, it's not like that shade that I used on the lid was that pink. And then for my highlighter, I went into the Pink Glow Cream Highlighter. And this is also very pretty. I think I've used both of these like 3 times now, so I've been trying to get a little bit more use out of my cream blushes. And then I set my face with the Do It Spray again, and then I set my brows with the e.l.f. Wow Brow. And then for my lips, I went into this Sailor Moon duo from Colourpop. I just picked this up yesterday. So I used the Ultra Blotted Lip in the shade Sailor Fuku, and then I popped on the gloss on top. This is such a beautiful gloss. This is the shade Transformation. It's not really that blue toned. It has like a bunch of blue and gold sparkles on your lips, but it's so pretty. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm going on my annual winery trip tomorrow with my girlfriends, and I'm so excited. We go out east here, and there's like beautiful wine country out there, so I literally cannot wait. It's going to be such a great time. It's just going to be a long day. But of course, I'm going to use my Wine and Only palette from Colourpop because I think I've used it 2 years in a row, and I always use it on that day. So I have the nails, I have the wine palette, and I'm super excited. So I always pull out this palette for specifically that trip. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay, so hey there guys, so this is the last look of this video. So I want to tell you guys about my makeup look for today. So I did go on my annual wine trip here in Long Island. I went out east and it was such a great time. I had so much fun, but oh my god, I'm so tired. So I primed my eyes with the Anastasia eye primer, and then I used the Amico Lay lip oil, and then I set my eyes with the Urban Decay Stay Naked powder. And then for my eyeshadow palette, I always use this palette. I think I said this yesterday before I did my makeup, or I just said, like, this is the palette that I was going to use the next day. So I went in with the Colourpop Wine and Only palette because I always use this one for my wine trip. I mean, duh. And this is usually like the only time I can whip it out, but I always make myself use this because it's such a good palette, and honestly, it lasted the entire day. Like, my eyeshadow looked so good for the whole day. So I used Sip Sip in the crease, then I darkened up the crease more with Major Chianti, and then I used Vinter on the outer corners, and then I used the shade Cast a Chateau on my lid, and then for my inner corners I went in with Blanc, which is this light, like, rosy tone gold. It's so pretty, and I just love the names in this palette because they're so relevant to what we were doing. It's just so cute. I absolutely adore this palette. So, and then I used my Precious from the So Jaded palette on my brow bone. And then for my waterline, so I was having a tough time with my liner today. I really don't know why. It was just giving me such a hard time. I really don't get it. But I brought it with me just in case if I wanted to, like, reapply it later on. But I was like, it doesn't really matter because it ended up looking okay by the time I left. But I think I just probably need to order a new one finally because this is pretty old. And I probably should just replace it. So I used the Makeup by Mario liner in the shade Black. And for some reason, like yesterday, it was applying just fine. But today, it just wasn't going on, like, the inner part of my eye. Like, it kept on skipping. So I was getting really frustrated. But eventually, it looked okay. So, just saying. And then I used the Essence Lash Primer, of course, on my top lashes. And then for my mascara, I went in with the Valentino mascara. Because since I have a new Essence Lash Primer, I wanted to use my go-to because I love that mascara. And then I used the Maybelline Lash Discovery, of course, on the bottom lashes. And then for my face, I primed with the Do It spray, and then I used the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. And then for my foundation, I went in with the Lancome Teint Idol Ultra Wear because this is always the one that I use if I need my foundation to be on all day. And this is the shade 120N. My favorite, so I just used that. I'm probably going to end up using this on Sunday as well because I need my makeup on all day on Sunday too because I have something else that's really fun planned. And then I used the Tarte C Hydra Flex Concealer because you all know I always use this one for like a bulletproof concealer. And this one's in the shade 8S Porcelain Sand, so I wanted to use just my go-to combo. And then I set my face with the Urban Decay powder again, and then I set my under eyes with the Pat McGrath powder as per usual. And then for my bronzer, I wanted to go into an oldie but a goodie. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills bronzer in the shade Rosewood. It was a little bit too warm toned for me today, but it still looked pretty, so I just used that. And then for my blush, I finally was able to, sorry, I almost dropped it. I went back into my Dior Backstage blush in the shade 012 Rosewood because it's like literally perfect to go with the Wine and Only palette. So I used that guy. It turned out a little bit pinky red, I think because it had a little bit of the orange on the brush from the last blush that I used, but it's okay. It still looked really pretty. And then for my highlighter, I went into this Melt highlighter. This is the Melt Blush Light in the shade Ghost Light, and it's such a pretty, like, goldish white. So I just used that because I hadn't used it in a hot second, and I really wanted to use it at some point. So I was like, what better time than to use it today? And then I set my brows with the e.l.f. Wow Brow. And then for my lips, I used the Blend Bunny Creamy Lip Liner in the shade I believe this is called Doll Face. Pretty sure it's called Doll Face. And then for my lips, I went into my Kat Von D liquid lipstick. And I'm calling it Kat Von D because this is when it was still Kat Von D, because I got this at Marshall's. And this is her infamous Lolita liquid lipstick. It's still one of my favorites. I still love the shade, so I wanted to wear it today. I think I wore that same shade last year. So yeah, that's it. I have such a headache. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So please like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram at SBW819 and check out my Poshmark at the same handle. I'm sorry the last two looks were just me with no makeup on, but I had to get out of the house really early this morning. I left at like 10:30. It takes like an hour to get there, so. And then the day before again, I just wanted to get out of the house. So yeah, that's it. Bye. And I did a pretty good job of using a different palette every day this week, except for the 1111 palette, because that's a new palette. So yeah, bye.